What's going on, classmates? Javier Rodriguez here, and for Module 3 in course delivery, the topic I chose for fire prevention is fire prevention for the elderly. Now, the goal of fire prevention is to educate the public to take precautions to prevent potential harmful fires and be educated about surviving them. It is a proactive method of reducing emergencies and the damage caused by them. Now, fire prevention for the elderly is a topic that's not usually discussed, but it's very important because Americans over the age of 65 are one of the highest groups to die in a fire. Approximately 900 people over the age of 65 die in a fire, and there's many different reasons that this occurs, but the elderly do have some risk factors that should be taken into consideration. Now, the elderly may not move as quickly as others in a fire emergency. That would be one. Another one would be that they could be on certain medications that affect their ability to make quick decisions. And another risk factor also can be that many elderly live alone and they don't have anyone around to help them out when an accident occurs. Now, two of the most common fire hazards that affect the elderly are cooking fires and smoking materials. Now, cooking accidents are the leading cause of fire-related injuries for older Americans. The kitchen is basically a very active and potentially a very potential dangerous room in the house. So, with that being said, the reason that most kitchen fires occur is because someone left a stove unattended while they've been cooking something. Now, they say that one of the ways to not be distracted or to remember that, hey, get back to the kitchen, is to take the top cover for a pan or a wooden spoon, something that you're using to cook, to remind you, hey, get back in the kitchen. So you also want to remind others that you never want to cook with loose or dangling sleeves because they can ignite easily. And if cooking with oil, you want to gradually increase the heat and not just, increase the heat very fast because that'll cause other issues and injuries. Now, if a fire does break out in a pan, just explain to them that all you gotta do is put a lid on it, and to never throw water on a grease fire. That will just make things worse and cause burns. Now, the second fire hazard that affects the elderly that I mentioned was the unsafe use of smoking materials. This is the leading cause of fire deaths among older Americans. Basically, you want to explain to them that you never want to leave smoking materials unattended and to use safety ashtrays with wide lips. And also empty out all ashtrays into the toilet or into a metal container every night before going to bed. Now, we all know smoking is bad, but when you're old, your time's coming and you can do whatever you want. So one of the biggest things also is you want to explain to them never smoke in bed. Now, in conclusion, we discussed about fire prevention and why it's important for everyone, especially with the elderly. Um, the elderly are basically one of those groups that have higher risk factors for dying in a fire. And we also discussed some of the fire hazards that affect the elderly, like cooking fires and unsafe smoking material. Finally, you always gotta explain, and people need to take having a working smoke detector always into consideration. That's always gonna help increase a successful reaction if a fire occurs. It's going to increase the chances of survival, basically. And also having a escape plan, a escape fire plan in the home, just like with little kids, with the elderly, have a set escape fire plan, and not just have it set in place, but they should also practice it. They have those risk factors, so they have to also practice it and stay into a good routine. That way, when an accident does occur, they're prepared for it. All right, class, you guys have a great day, and see you in the next module.